condition and availability. Savings vary.
Hi, this is Brad. I want to take a moment to talk about a serious issue. In the next 5 years, the aviation industry is projected to have a shortage of commercial pilots. Now is the time to start training. Ocala Flying Club has started a scholarship for the youth of Marion County ages 17 to 24. The club will donate up to $4,000 towards a pilot's license. This will help get the student on their way to obtaining their commercial pilot license. If this sounds like something you would be interested in, or if you know someone that would be, please contact Ocala Aviation Services, 861-7484.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new truck.
We can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Thank you. 25 minutes before 8 o'clock. It's just a beautiful Friday morning, 74 degrees. The forecast is calling for a 40% chance of rain. Yesterday, Ocala had this thunderstorm cell that was just kind of hovering over us. When I went to the Weather Channel website, and you know how you can go there and you can look at an animated map and you can see what it's doing. It looked like there was this giant, massive amount of weather, although the whole thing didn't have clouds in it, but it went all the way from like North Carolina down to like Cuba or whatever, and we were like in the center of it. So that big cell, or that small cell rather, I should say, it was rather a small cell, but it was over Ocala.
Right.
And the reason it wasn't blowing over like it usually does is because it was like the center of the circle, so it was kind of twisting right on top of us. And boy, at points there, it seemed like it was right over the Paddock Mall. We had some lightning strikes. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them actually hit the mall.
Yeah, it was huge.
Although I don't know that for a fact, but yeah, there was lightning right here. Really, I'm sure you all felt it because it was over Ocala and it was kind of spinning over Ocala with a gigantic wheel.
Yeah, it was right there.
Anyway, so today, 40% chance of rain and the possibility of some thunderstorms, scattered thunderstorms again this afternoon. High temperatures around 94 degrees. You want to know what the weekend is like? It's 50-50. 50% chance it'll rain, 50% chance it'll not rain.
I like it.
If you think about it, that's what it means.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it means when it says 50% chance of rain. It means there's a 50% chance it won't rain.
Mm-hmm.
We should look at it that way from now on. Like a 40% chance of rain. That's a 60% chance it won't rain.
Yeah. I know. Isn't that something?
Think about that.
But at least there's a percentage of wet and a percentage of not wet. So
here in California, not so much.
No, California
not so much.
Wow.
All right, let's see. There are no ribbon cuttings to tell you about right now. Some things in the news. Hurricane Danny. Oh, speaking of the weather, we have the first hurricane of the season. It is named Danny. It became a Category 1 hurricane yesterday. It looks like it'll reach the Leeward Islands by Monday. Danny is considered small for a hurricane. Only has about a 10-mile distance between the center and the edge. Mm-hmm. So it's about 20 miles across. And they expect it to hit Puerto Rico, but by the time it hits Puerto Rico, they say it will have weakened to the point where it will no longer be a hurricane, but instead be a tropical storm. Mm-hmm. Then they say it'll fall apart in one model. The other model says it'll then start turning north toward the Bahamas. Mm-hmm. So if it becomes a tropical storm and starts heading toward the Bahamas and weakens, well, guess who's on the other side of the Bahamas? We are.
Yes.
Not Ocala, but Miami.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So it'll if it crosses over there, you never know. So what are we talking about? Maybe a week from now? Mm-hmm. Probably a week from now. If it comes our way at all, it'll be here by that point. And if the meteorologists are right, it won't be very strong. It'll be just storms. It'll be normal storms.
Yeah.
All right. So that's covered. All right, I wanted to tell you about some reunions. Oh, one more story, though, before we do that. There's, how long is this thing? A 5-week show in England in a seaside town called Somerset. Mm-hmm. It's in a building called the Tropicana Building in Weston Supermare, whatever that is.
Okay.
Anyway, they have a theme park that they have built, a temporary theme park, called Dismaland.
Oh.
Looks very much like Disneyland. It even has a rundown looking castle.
Oh my gosh.
It's an amusement park created by graffiti artist Banksy that will haunt your dreams.
Oh my gosh.
Banksy describes his Wonderland as a family theme park unsuitable for children.
No.
A family theme park unsuitable for children, which means that you can appease your children by taking them to an amusement park while simultaneously torturing them.
Yeah, exactly.
There is one thing, I'll tell you, one piece of artwork. I guess this is mostly just artwork on display, but they're calling it a theme park. So there's a lady, like a rendering of a lady sitting on a bench. I don't know if it's called a sculpture or a plastic rendition of a lady. I don't know, but she's got like, it's like she's feeding the seagulls.
Yeah.
Not seagulls. What do you feed? Pigeons?
The pigeons.
She's feeding the pigeons, but the pigeons are just like attacking her, and she's like holding her hands over her head, trying to protect herself. So,
Well, that's opposite Mary Poppins, because the lady feeds the pigeons.
Right.
That song, Feed the Birds.
That's right. That's
They
right.
love her. So this one, they hate
The
her.
park has a place where you can go. You can see Cinderella's. What do you call that thing with the pumpkin? Is Cinderella the one with the pumpkin? Turns into a carriage?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So the carriage is upside down. The horse looks like it died. Cinderella looked like she was shot. And it was all because the SWAT team came and took care of them. Let's see. If you go into the bumper car ride, the Grim Reaper is riding a bumper car.
Oh, gosh.
By the way, they made another announcement about Fantasy Fest, if you want to.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Cool.
Why is this selfie spot? Oh, they have a selfie spot. It's a white wall with two holes, one for your face, one for your hand, so you can hold the camera and take a picture of yourself. Don't know what that is. It's kind of crazy.
Glad it didn't have a third hole.
There's a boat with a bunch of children in a pond, just kind of waiting, like refugees, I guess. Just crazy. There's a lady, a rendering of a lady, like a fake lady, holding a bunch of balloons that says "I am an imbecile," and they say that's a piece of artwork showing that we as consumers are blind consumers. We just pay our money in blind consumerism. We do, but we like doing it.
Yes, we do.
Why can't we do that? You do your stupid stuff.
That's right.
Willie the orca, the killer whale.
Yes.
Instead of jumping out of a sea, is jumping out of a toilet.
Ah.
It's a piece of artwork. Anyway, it's called Dismoland. I'm only telling it to you because it's in the news.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I wouldn't have heard it otherwise.
I thought I found it on. I thought I found it on a site that you would probably not find it on, which I did. But it's also on MSNBC, so I thought, okay.
Oh, okay. It's
Well, the big guys are carrying it. It seems like it must be news. All right. Some reunions. I want to tell you about some reunions.
Okay.
That I think this is a cool topic. Let me tell you about Larry, Moe, and Curly.
Okay.
I looked at the video of this and I said, "Wow, that is kind of cool." Curly Howard, remember the Three Stooges?
Yes, I
Curly Howard had a stroke. I never knew this. Joe's a big Three Stooges fan, so he probably
Yeah,
knew
he
that.
loves them.
But Curly Howard had a stroke, and that made him have to stop being in the Three Stooges. I never knew this. And then his older brother, Shemp, took his place.
Oh, so that's why Shemp came on board.
And
Curly wasn't there
I never
anymore.
knew this. Shemp was actually Curly's predecessor in their old vaudeville act. But Shemp didn't do the TV thing until Curly had a stroke,
Oh, okay.
which I didn't know that either.
I did
So
not.
while Curly dreamed of a reunion that would never be, he never recovered. He died in 1952.
Oh.
He did manage to appear in a film in 1947 called Hold That Lion. It was the third Three Stooges film where Shemp is the place of where Curly used to be.
Uh-huh.
And it's not widely known because Curly grew his hair. Curly was known for a shaved head, remember?
Right.
So he grew his hair.
Uh-huh.
He appeared in the movie as an extra,
Oh, wow.
as a passenger on the train that the Three Stooges passed through.
Uh-huh.
And according to the Three Stooges Journal, he also filmed a second reunion cameo for 1949's Malice in the Palace short film. However, his scenes as an angry, mustachioed chef were cut from the movie, and the role was assumed by Larry Fine.
Oh.
But the one you can see is the one on the train. And here's what you see. You see a guy, you see the Three Stooges, Moe, Larry, and Shemp. You see them on the train, and they're looking for somebody. And there's a guy sleeping with his head back, and he's got his hat over his face. So they're saying, is this him? Is this the guy? So they lift it up, and then there's Curly. But you might not have noticed it was him because he had hair.
Yeah.
And then he does his trademark, he's like snoring, and he goes, remember he used to do that?
Yeah, that was great.
Remember he did that?
Yeah, that was
So he's doing that, so I'm guessing moviegoers at the time say, hey, that's Curly.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, wow.
And I watched it this morning, so it is kind of something cool. You can look it up on YouTube.
How cool is that?
But anyway, that's one of several different reunions that I want to tell you about that you might not have known happened.
I didn't know that.
Including Ulysses S. Grant. Had a reunion with Robert Lee.
E. Lee?
E. Lee.
Really?
Can you believe?
Wow.
They had a reunion. We'll talk about that when we come back. This is WOCA.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Today, tomorrow, and Sunday, it looks pretty much the same. Sunshine will mix with some clouds. We'll have a thunderstorm that'll spread from near the coast early in the day to further inland by the afternoon. Highs will range from 90 to 93, and it looks like any thunder shower will be around in the evening hours. It'll dissipate and turn out partly cloudy with lows in the mid to upper 70s. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Maggie Johnson.
If you're anything like I was, the thought of getting older was the last thing on your mind. But here we are. For me, it started slowly. The lack of energy, never being in the mood. And when I was, I could never perform at my best. I tried the pills and other treatments with minimal results, and all but given up on my sex life. Then I found the doctors at New Male Medical Center. Wow, they made a new male out of me. Feel like I'm 25 again. I have renewed vigor, so much more energy, and no longer worry about my performance. New Male treated me like my situation was one of a kind, with a custom treatment plan that really works. I feel great. They can create one for you too. It does not matter if you suffer from low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, or just want to last longer. New Male will help you.
Call New Male Medical Center today at 352-404-4779. 352-404-4779. That's 352-404-4779. It will change your life. 352-404-4779.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offered does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust-proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
Do you have areas that have started sagging or drooping? Is what you're looking at not quite the same as it was years ago? Are there enhancements you've been putting off? Is there serious damage you need fixed? Then call on us, Damage Control Services. When your roof is sagging and the drywall is drooping after a storm, or your home just needs some enhancements, from damage repairs to new construction, Damage Control Services is here to help.
One of the most common questions those nearing retirement are asking: will I outlive my money? Retirement questions like these and many more will be answered every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement with hosts Francois and Julian Pozenet. Francois and Julian will help you put your retirement puzzle together. Catch Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Ocala's News Talk, The Source 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
All right, just about 12 minutes before 8 o'clock. Beautiful looking Friday morning, 74 degrees. Temperatures climbing another 20 degrees before we're done with today. And there's a 50% chance of rain, right? 40% chance of rain today. So, all right, so we're talking about reunions that maybe you never heard about. The only one we've really talked about so far was the fact that Curly from the Three Stooges actually did a cameo appearance after he was no longer, I guess, a part of the trio because of a stroke.
I never knew he had a stroke.
It was very cool. Here's the one. Robert E. Lee and Ulysses S. Grant. On April 9th, 1865, General Robert E. Lee surrendered 28,000 Confederate forces to Union Army Commander Ulysses S. Grant. After trying to kill one another for more than 2 years, the two men entered a home in Virginia called Appomattox, as you know, courthouse, to end the bloodiest war in American history.
Yeah.
All right. That was the last time they saw each other until, that was 1865. until May of 1869, 4 years and 1 month later, which was a year, by the way, before his death, Lee's death.
Oh, okay.
Robert E. Lee, who was at the time the president of Washington College, later the Washington and Lee College, named after him, he accepted the newly elected President Grant's gracious invitation to the White House.
Wow.
Although no one recorded what was said, they were together for 15 minutes, and a witness described the tone as somber. Anthony Bergen believes that they probably addressed the progress of North-South reconciliation, and possibly the time the two spent more than 20 years earlier as Army buddies during the Mexican-American War.
Oh, gee.
Lee is the only American in history to have visited the White House after being stripped of his citizenship.
Wow.
And P.S., President Gerald Ford, in case you forgot, restored Lee's citizenship 106 years later.
I forgot. Isn't that something? Thank you, Gerald Ford.
And by the way, there's just a little political note. There's a state lawmaker from Orlando, a state senator, Geraldine Thompson, who has filed a bill to make it illegal in the state of Florida to fly the the Confederate flag on government property.
Oh, of course.
All right, don't go there. We want to have fun. All right,
I just think this is a.
So that was another reunion. Here's another one. Hold on. Where was another one I liked a lot here? Oh, not that
They
one.
tried killing each other for 2 years.
Well, they did.
I know, but it just is like. Gee, it's just amusing to me.
Oh, John Lennon and Paul McCartney. Okay. I never knew this. Now, I was a big Beatles fan, and they separated, and they were supposedly angry at each other. On March 28th, 1974, however,
yes.
which is kind of in the middle of when they were both writing nasty songs about each other, they got together in the studio in L.A.
Really?
Well, John Lennon was working with, I don't know how many of you remember, oh gosh, what's the guy's name? How could I forget? Harry Nilsson.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how many remember Harry Nilsson. Harry Nilsson was the guy who sang "Without You" and "Brother bought a coconut, he bought it for the dime," right? And he did the theme song to "The Courtship of Eddie's Father," and he did a cartoon called "The Point."
Yes, that was
anyway.
cool.
Anyway, so Harry Nilsson was doing an album, and John Lennon, the Beatle, John Lennon was the producer on the album. The album is titled "Pussycats." Anyway, so Harry Nilsson was recording the album, and guess who showed up at the studio? Paul McCartney.
Really?
Yes, and so they were there, and I was listening to the tape this morning. They just had the tape rolling. They didn't actually record anything, but John Lennon is just playing just kind of old rock and roll songs. He was a big fan of old rock and roll songs. Stevie Wonder was there. Harry Nilsson was there. And Paul McCartney was sitting at Ringo's drums. Ringo was not there, but his drums were. And I listened to the recording this morning. So on March 28th, 1974, when they were still supposedly like at each other's throats, and they were, I guess, in the public eye, but we never knew until this story that John Lennon and Paul McCartney actually jammed together for a little while, and it's recorded. You can hear it.
Nice.
The reason we know about it is, okay, I'm sorry, it's not from this report here. It's from a 1983 book by May Pang. Do you remember who May Pang was?
Oh, wasn't that John Lennon's
the mistress
that he left Yoko for, but then he came back to Yoko after a year or so. Yeah, I remember her.
To Yoko's credit, that was an amazing decision on her part.
Her or somebody.
Did we interview May Pang? No.
Yeah, okay, but we interviewed somebody that knew May Pang and was there when they were
We
together.
have, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
We have come close to people who are really famous.
Yeah.
No, we've had some really famous people. All right, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, you all know that they had a falling out. After 10 years, they were a comedy team for 10 years. They went on to star in 16 movies together. Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis went separate ways. Dean Martin went on to become a serious singer, and the two did not speak again for 20 years. Their reunion on Jerry Lewis's annual muscular dystrophy telethon in 1976 was because of Frank Sinatra, a mutual friend. You might have heard of the man.
Yes, I think I saw that.
But anyway, there was more to it. In 1989, So the telethon was 1976. In 1989, Dean Martin was in Las Vegas doing a week of shows at Bally's, and Jerry Lewis came to the show with a cake to celebrate Dean Martin's 72nd birthday.
Wow.
When he went up to Dean Martin, even though the reunion that Frank Sinatra got them together on in the telethon in 1976, even though it looked friendly on camera, the witnesses say they weren't really all that friendly with each other even at that moment. But in 1989, things started to thaw out. Dean Martin was celebrating his 72nd birthday. Jerry Lewis brought him a cake, and he said facetiously, "Why we broke up, I'll never know." Dean Martin said, "You surprised me. I love you and I mean it." That according to witnesses, and we'll never see that because it wasn't taped or filmed. The 1976 reunion, as I mentioned before, was mostly just for the cameras on the telethon.
Because I remember they were hugging, because I remember that.
Now, that 1989 is when they got together for the last time. In 1987, however, 2 years earlier, Dean Martin's son, Dino Jr., was killed in a plane crash.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Dean Martin later found out that Jerry Lewis attended the funeral secretly.
Oh.
He called his old partner, and they patched things up for real and remained close friends until Dean Martin died in 1995.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, what can you imagine going to a funeral secretly? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, well, otherwise people might have thought it was a publicity stunt, at the expense of Dean Martin's son, but that was a good thing.
All right, some more reunions?
Yes,
hopefully
this is so
you're enjoying these
fascinating
stories.
Stuff.
Sonny and Cher. The Sonny and Cher show, the show called The Sonny and Cher Show, ran from 1976 through 1977. That was the only time it ran. Now, that's The Sonny and Cher Show. That's not to be confused with the the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour.
Right.
The Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour ran from 1971 through 1974. But then they split. They were divorced.
Yeah.
After that. So they had their own shows. Cher had one called The Cher Show, and Sonny had one called The Sonny Comedy Review. But the public wanted to see them together. So they got together for 1976 season, which only went through till 77, for the TV show called The Sonny and Cher Show, and it didn't last that long. I guess it didn't have the same kind of punch that the old one had.
Yeah.
And they didn't kiss or hug, they shook hands. In addition, for legal reasons, none of the characters or skits from their earlier series could be reprised.
Right.
And although it debuted to strong ratings in February of 76, The Sonny and Cher Show quickly fell out of favor and was canceled in August of 77. Now, this story that I just read to you does not include something else that I believe is probably more recent than that. I believe one of them was on the David Letterman show, and the other one was nearby and came to say hi. So David Letterman had them both out at the same time, and then David Letterman coerced them, convinced them. It didn't seem like they wanted to do this, but they did perform I Got You, Babe.
Oh.
So that might have been the most recent reunion before Sonny died.
That could have been.
All right, and if you're a fan of The Sopranos, let me give you one reunion from The Sopranos.
Okay.
Before James Gandolfini died in 2013, he and 4 key Sopranos cast members reunited for a made-for-Nickelodeon movie called Nicky Deuce.
Oh my, a children's movie.
Right. In addition to Gandolfini, who played a gangster named Bobby Eggs, the 2012 film starred Tony Sirico, Michael Imperioli, Vincent Curatola, and Steven Sciarappa. I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing the names probably wrong. Who also executive produced and co-wrote the books that inspired the film. The plot centered on a nerdy boy, iCarly's Noah Monk, who instead of math camp is sent to spend the summer with his uncle in Brooklyn, where he mistakenly gains a bad reputation.
Just probably Gandolfino, right? He must have been the uncle, maybe.
I don't know. As a kid-friendly production, Nicky Deuce contains no violence or obscenity, and according to most critics and fans, very little quality. After a short television run, the movie quickly died on DVD. Following Gandolfini's death, Sciarappa took the high road and made no attempt to relaunch it based on its newfound tragic significance. So, but there was a reunion of The Sopranos in a children's movie.
Wow.
Pretty cool stuff, huh?
Very cool stuff.
Pretty cool stuff.
Very cool
anyway,
stuff.
there were some more, but I think those are the best ones.
I love the one Ulysses Grant, Robert E. Lee.
You like that one?
Yeah, that was great. And Lennon and McCartney to jam together, even though they might have had artistic differences, they probably respected each other's talent.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break. And when we come back with Galen Unold, I'm going to tell you how to become young again.
Okay.
Or at least how to pretend to be young again. We'll be right back.
You can go to extremes with impossible schemes. You can laugh when you're dreaming.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages.